And now, the SleepHawk Worldwide Podcast. Here are your hosts, Brandon Staton and Tyler Hansbrough.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the SleepHawk Worldwide Podcast. This is Sleep Talk with the Big Hawk.
What's up, everybody? It's the Big Hawk. We're back in studio. A lot of action, man. Everything is kind of, we're about to have the sports world's eyes. College basketball, football's winded down. So I'm excited. And, I'm glad to be back here with you, Sleep.
Yeah, we kind of picked a weird night to record because UNC is going to play Pitt here shortly. And when they do, inevitably, whatever we say is probably going to be made to look like we're idiots. But just keep that in mind, guys. As going through this episode right now, we're going to get into, a quick recap of the Boston College game. We're going to get into the state of the team. And then we're going to preview the one we've all been waiting for. And I think not so sure about, if we're being honest with ourselves as Carolina fans. Carolina plays Duke on Saturday. If we run through it and still got a little time left, we might touch on the season that was for the Commanders and talk about the NFL playoffs and so forth. But first things first, look, we haven't been on in a while. Let's just recap sort of the Boston College game, Big Hawk. So it doesn't have to be long. But the fan base, right? I mean, look, you go in there, which is what feels like a pretty inferior team, close game the whole damn time, and get pushed to the brink in overtime, and you pull it out. I think I understand as a fan, you're sort of like, come on, it can't be that close. But we did win, and I think it was a needed win. I know it was a needed win because it would have been pretty catastrophic if it were a loss. But just curious, your thoughts on the game and, I guess what do you take away in a game like that where, I think all signs point to a sort of easy win, even though it's on the road and or was it at home? Sorry, I had it in front of me.
It was at home.
And easy win at home, and it didn't work out that way. Is a win a win, or is a win a loss in that case?
I feel like we lost the game from a lot of people's reactions. Listen, I just want to say this. You've always said it's not a beauty contest. It doesn't have to be pretty. The whole goal, playing the game is to win it. We got that done. A lot of fans, we wanted to just come out there, steamroll them, get off the fast breaks, make the game look beautiful. Didn't happen. Sometimes you got to win ugly, and you got to win ugly in the tournament, especially in the tournament. Guys, the tournament to me is like definition. Can you win ugly? Because guys are going to miss. But listen, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the BC recap. And I'll say right now, listen, we got a dub, and we all need to be excited about that because that is a step in the right direction. There's a lot of positives to take away from this game as well. I think all Carolina fans, we all wanted for us to come out and just take them to the woodshed. And why? Because we just lost to Wake Forest. I think everyone was a little upset about that. We wanted to have a bounce-back game. Listen, what I take away from the Boston College game is something we haven't done all year, and I really felt like we did a great job of executing late in the game and doing what we needed to do to win. And we can't say that in every situation. We got stops when it counted. They couldn't get the ball in bounds to really get a bucket, to get up a last-second shot, forcing it into overtime. I really felt like we scored when we needed to late in the game, which we've struggled with at times. Now, the interesting part about this game is we didn't bring it defensively. It just seems like Boston College just couldn't miss. And listen, teams are going to do that. They're going to have spectacular nights every once in a while. Guys are just going to make shots, but that could have been us a little bit, not playing the best defense. Could be a little combination where, BC's in the Smith Center. They've got some kids in there probably dreamed about playing in North Carolina. This is their chance to go ahead and go off and have a statement game. But if I had something to say to Carolina fans, I think we should be happy about this win. And I don't think we should look at it as like, we barely got past Boston College or not. They're not a really good team. They haven't had a good year. No, we got a dub. We went out and got a hard-fought conference win at home which we desperately needed. And so maybe we can get some momentum off this. And, as Carolina fans, we got to come out. We got to bring the energy. And hopefully sometimes the team will feed off that, Sleep.
Yeah, essentially, I'm with you. Like, look, at the end of the day, especially in the way this season is going, like, look, you need wins, and you need them any way you can get them. Doesn't have to be pretty. I think it's easy to see. I mean, easy to not say anything anybody doesn't know. Right, this season's expectations sort of outpace reality so far this year, and we've kind of been really optimistic. And I mean, look, this is a season where you just got to grind it out. You got to look, you're going to play a lot of teams that, I mean, maybe they're better than you are. And it's just going to come down to, how bad you want it. You get in the tournament and all bets are off, right? So I think if, fans are just, going to be irrational. I wasn't particularly thrilled that, we got pushed to the brink in a game like that. But yeah, I mean, dude, the alternative was you didn't lose the game. So at the end of the day, what difference does it make? Judged on wins, I don't think any of the wins are going to get looked at as, oh, that was a close win, right? Like maybe in times it'll be a close loss. A loss would have been catastrophic in that game. So look, just move on. What's that?
Yeah, we looked doomsday right in the face, Sleep. I got to admit, though, going off of our history, I thought, oh, we might slip. This is going to be a bad loss. But you know what? We pulled through, and that's why you play him, Sleep. And I will say, there's no pictures
That's right.
in the record book. So right beside our record, there's not going to be pictures of this game. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a very good thing. So where does that bring us? That brings us to the state of the team a little bit, right? Like, I mean, let's talk about it. Look, we're heading in to a game that is always marked on the calendar. I really, truly, I mean, we all know that just all bets are off in a game like this. We've lost 2 of the last 3 and got pushed to overtime at home against a bad BC team. Meanwhile, Duke's won like 14 in a row. Okay, they look pretty good. Cooper Flag. I mean, you can't turn on your television without seeing this guy. I mean, you could turn it on Cartoon Network and this dude's on there. Okay. And then he leads the team in virtually every category, which everybody thinks is a great thing. It tells me the team might have some weaknesses. I mean, what do you think, Big Hawk?
All right. So I'll go into the state of affairs, which is always one of my favorite segments. Where are we right now? Where do we stand with everybody else?
I got ahead of myself.
No, you're good. You brought it up. You brought 2 segments into one. But no, listen, this is where we are with everybody else. So our net rankings, again, this is put out by the NCAA. This is what they use to help determine which teams make the tournament. That's why I place more value on the net ranking than any other ranking, especially the AP poll, which is just a bunch of journalists, picking who they think they like. The net rankings put out by the committee. All right, so here we go. We have a net ranking of 40 right now. That's not bad, Sleep. That's not all that bad. And I'll just say we have no loss outside.
Played a lot of good teams this year.
We have one of the toughest schedules in college. That is one thing. Our non-conference strength of schedule. There's not a team out there that has a tougher non-conference strength of schedule than we do. There's some people that maybe just a little bit, but we played some tough teams and we did not duck anybody. So we have no losses outside of Quad 2. Now that Quad 2 loss was against Stanford, and that was a heartbreaker at home, and a lot of people got a little upset about that one. But listen, when it's all said and done, we don't have a Quad 3 loss or a Quad 4, so that's a positive. And we would like to start racking up some of these wins. So our only Quad 1 win, which we're 1-7 in Quad 1, happens to come against UCLA on the neutral court, Madison Square Garden. But that's where we rank. We're 40th in the net ranking compared to every other D1 team out there. Now we'll look at the ACC standings. We are tied. We're in a 3-way tie for 5th place with SMU and Stanford right now. So the teams ahead of us, obviously Duke's number 1, Clemson's 2, Louisville's 3, and Wake Forest is 4. Wake Forest had a pretty good year. They've been a little bit of a surprise team. Obviously, the turnaround from Louisville and what Pat Kelsey's doing is unbelievable. I think, those two teams have definitely been a pretty good surprise, but Clemson is a very quality opponent. When I look at the ACC right now, I would say Duke and Clemson are the two strongest teams right now. And also Clemson, the N. Shefflin kid, the Chase Hunter kid, they have some guys who have some experience, and they have, they have a team that has, experience in the tournament, and they're a veteran team. So you would expect that from them this year. So right now we are coming up on the toughest part of our conference schedule. We have, right now our next 4 games lined up at Pitt. Obviously, by the time this hits the airways, that will be already resolved. But after that, we're at Duke, and then we have Pitt at home, and then we're at Clemson. So we could really make up some ground, and we could really get off and get some momentum behind us and win some big-time ball games. Or we could just, having to figure it out after we take some bad L's. So I would say after these next 4 games, it's going to be a huge determining factor, kind of the direction that this team's going to head later on down in the year. Because if we get some of these wins right now, at Clemson in particular, at Duke as well, that would be very exciting. And I think that would turn, a lot of people's feelings, into a little bit of excitement, give everybody and all of us a little bit of hope. And, Sleep. So that's the state of affairs, and that's where we stand right now against everybody, and in where we look in the conference standings.
Yes, I mean, look, I think given where we started and given where we're at, we're still alive, right? We've taken our damn lumps this year. We haven't looked great. Let's just call it what it is. But you still got to think that you've gotten this far and you're still alive with RJ shooting less than 40% from the field, right? Like a lot of pieces sort of not really maybe playing as big a role as we thought they would, right? So look, I mean, you're starting to see the rotation tighten. That's something that we had talked about, several pods ago. And look, all that you got to do is get it together in March, but you got to get there first, So I think, look, I always want to beat Duke. Everything goes out the window when these two teams play, regardless of who's good, who's bad. If one team's good, another team's not, whatever. Turns everything on its head. But aside from that, my question and relative to the state of the team, and we'll talk about, Duke here in a second, is, the remaining games that we have otherwise, we got 4 of our next 5 games on the road, including the Pitt game tonight. At Pitt, at Duke, back home against Pitt, at Clemson, at Syracuse. You got State at home. Not going to be easy. So my question to you is, and I don't know these other teams, even though they're in the ACC as well as you do, how much room do we have? How much room do we have to – we can't expect this team to win out. And honestly, like if you're just looking flat out on paper, you really need a win against Duke. That would really help your case, right? But like let's just play the odds here and what the odds makers are going to call it. Right, odds makers are going to say you're going to lose those 2 games flat out. Again, this is me just like, I hate Duke. I want to win both of them, and I think we can. Don't crucify me over this. But like, say you drop both to Duke. Or, do we have any? Do we have to win the rest of them to make the tournament?
Wow. Well, you get into a scenario kind of. I'm not saying we're much better than what NC State was last year, but NC State went on that tournament run. You can go, you can walk into the ACC tournament kind of limping and then, start sprinting when that thing's all done, kind of like NC State. And I even hate comparing us to State. It's just disgusting. But I'll say this, Sleep. I'll say this. I remember when a lot of Tar Heel fans a little nervous before we played Duke at the Final Four when they had that good squad. I think they had Zion or whatever. Caleb Love hit that historic shot. This isn't the first time we've seen Duke, and we've kind of had our backs against the wall, and we've, looks like we're facing a Goliath. What pops in my mind is my freshman year. They smacked us really bad in the Dean Dome, and the last game of the year was at Cameron, and it was JJ and Sheldon's senior night, and they were the top team in the country, and we weren't as talented, but we'd fought hard, and we walked in there and we won. And I don't care what anybody says, whatever the media has hyped Duke up to. Yeah, I just can't believe it. I mean, I just want to put them in the Hall of Fame right now. Just put them in Springfield. And that's not a knock to them. They're very beatable, and they are a very young team. I've watched the 2 games that they've lost, Kansas and Kentucky. They did not execute down the stretch. They relied on Cooper Flagg in isolation too much late in the game, and, in my opinion, ignored a lot of their weapons. And Con Knipple, Maluwatch, they just stood there and kind of watched Cooper, just expecting him to win the game. Now, Cooper Flagg is the best player in college right now, in my opinion, and he's playing unbelievable. And from a resume standpoint, Duke is a team you want to walk into Cameron and smack Duke. I don't care what their rank. I mean, their net ranking is 3. They're, at the top of the ACC rankings. They're, 10-0 in conference play. Haven't lost. Now, they've been played very close at Wake Forest. And also NC State went into Cameron the other night, played them pretty close, a lot closer than a lot of people anticipated. Mm-hmm. And I watched both games. I watched the game at Wake, and, of course, they protected the court after the game. Like, there's going to, every former president was going to be there. The security was unbelievable. Never seen that. But, especially after, last year, you remember kid almost, sleepy. He got hurt in that court storming at Wake Forest, but they took care of business at Wake, took care of business against NC State, and I'm looking forward to this game, and I would love for us to do it, just because it would be so unexpected. And I'll say this isn't the first time that we've unexpectedly beat Duke when everybody else thought we were going to lose handily.
Yeah, I mean, my personal opinion is, gosh, I feel like you got to win one, because we were talking about this before. The ACC this year, at least in the eyes of the committee or the scheduling or whatever, is down a little bit, right? But if you finish 4th with a win against Duke, and again, there's a lot of season left to play, right? So all this stuff is just, just theory at this point. But if you finish 4th, I feel like you're in. If you finish 4th in the ACC, it's hard for me to believe that 4 teams in the ACC aren't going to make the tournament, regardless of how the rest of the season shakes out. You can say what you want about the teams in the tournament, mm-hmm. right? I really have a hard time thinking that if you're 5th, you're going to get in this year, and you're definitely not going to get in if you don't have a win. And that's the thing. I think we played a lot. People forget, man. We played Kansas to the ropes. Mm-hmm. We've played a lot of good teams, And this is the other thing. I asked you this when we played Memphis in that exhibition game. Memphis is a good team.
Oh, yeah.
We beat them, but it doesn't count, And my question to you then was, you think the committee was like, hey, man, look, if you got us versus somebody else, I mean, I know it's not supposed to count, but do they have that in the back? That game is so long gone now that question has answered itself, regardless of whether or not it's viable. But, I just feel like if I'm Carolina, you got to dig somewhere. Yeah. You got to dig somewhere deep and win one of these games. And You win both of them, it changes everything, right? But
it's a statement.
You got to think that we're going to drop. This team has, I mean, this team's gritty, if nothing else. I think they're doing as much as they can with what they have. And I think the landscape of college basketball is just a lot different now. I think people get angry when our team is not a blue chip title contender. I think, frankly, you're going to start seeing that you're going to start seeing that become a lot more common. As kids get paid to go elsewhere. It doesn't seem like, because there's still a concentration of power, right? Kansas, Kentucky, like all these teams are still good this year, right? But I don't think people realize just how few players it takes in a situation like this kid from Utah going to BYU, right? There's only so many of those guys. And I get the one and done issue. Okay, fine, right? One and done guys can go. But there's also a top 100, and there's like a top, 200, 300 players. And when you start getting outside of, the top 5 guys, everybody at this point on the McDonald's All-Americans they're going to follow the money. And why wouldn't they? Right. So I just think that, like, as a Carolina fan, you got to be realistic. And as a Carolina program, you got to be realistic. And we haven't talked much because, frankly, I don't follow recruiting at all. Because who knows who knows where kids are going to be when they actually recruit or when they actually commit. And then these whole like little song and dance things about where they're going. But this kid, Caleb Wilson, that we got, that's a big get for sure. So it signals that the program is at least starting to pay attention to what it's going to require. No idea what this kid's getting paid, if he's getting paid or if he just loves Carolina that much. But I've said it before, you're not just going to be able to get by anymore forever on the legacy of the program at Carolina or anywhere else. And I think, honestly, the reason Duke has what it has, the reason they're landing guys like Cooper Flagg is because their legacy really is more recent, right? Like, if you really think about Carolina's legacy, I get Dean Smith, which is, the start of it, and Roy and the championships. But, like, dude, Michael Jordan is a cornerstone. And time is catching up, man. Like, kids don't look at Michael Jordan the way I did when I was a kid. And I think that's just reality. Anyway, I'm rambling on and on because the question was about Duke and did we need to win? And somehow I went off into this tangent. But my point is I think we need to win one of those games. It's going to be very hard to look at just the evidence and think that we're going to run the table. So yeah, I think we're going to need that Duke win because we're probably ain't going to win out, and we're going to need another one to make a compelling case. Anyway,
well, it would be nice. And I'll say this, Sleep. What I think we need to do is we need to walk over to Cameron on Saturday and then get that win, and then worry about beating Duke at home when it comes that time.
It's a good idea.
Yeah,
it's a great idea.
Yeah, I would love that.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And Sleep. The other thing is, guys, Carolina fans, let's calm down just a little. We were a number 1 seed last year. Okay, don't forget about that. We were a hell of a team last year. Okay, we lost to Alabama in the Sweet 16. We're number 1 seed last year. And listen, we have 2 young kids in and Drake who continue to get better. Who's to say that they're not going to even improve even more than what they have this year in the later half of the season when they're getting more minutes and their confidence is going up? I've always said that we're going to be a different team. I'm not throwing in the cards. Yeah, if we lose both of them, so what? We'll go into the tournament. We'll try to win that thing. Clemson, we got an opportunity at Clemson to get a dub. That would be a big one as well. That would be a quad 1 win. That would look good on the resume. Clemson's a tournament team. Yeah, we've got to fight, and we can't get, sorry about not having a great year. I mean, there's a lot of ball to be played, and UCLA went to the tournament a few years ago as a play-in team and then ended up in the Final Four. So they had a pretty good ending to the year. There's a lot of ball to be played. So let's support this team right now, and let's see if we can't get some momentum. I hope we get a win tonight at Pitt, just because there's been some smack talk in the past with that one. But that would feel good, and I would love to walk into Cameron and Sleep. We'd be celebrating that one.
Oh yeah, that'd be a quite an accomplishment. So yeah, I mean, I think look, you hit it on the head. I picked it up there. By the way, guys, hopefully there's no it's lagging pretty badly as we're recording this, but I think it's just coming through fine. But one thing I did catch, you mentioned was supporting the team, right? And not to get all sentimental and stuff, but like literally there's some fair weather out there, right? And it's easy to get frustrated, right? And that sort of thing. But your point is what I mean, look at what NC State did last year. And like your point about UCLA and like just get to the tournament, right? Figure it out then. And I think there's a story to be written here. If we can just put our head down and grind through it. It's been a tough season. Yep. I think by the standards of Carolina and of this team and RJ and you just got to get there. And if it clicks at the right time in college basketball, man, that's all it takes. So I'm with you 100%. Just take care of business. Just walk in there and get a W. And we'll walk in there tonight and get one so we don't all real look like idiots, please. But then, we'll kind of go from there. So, Big Hawk, I was going to get into the playoffs, but given the fact that we're having these technical issues, I'll just say this is a great run for the Commanders, dude. What a season. Even got Big Hawk on our side. I mean, at the beginning of the year, Big Hawk didn't want nothing to do with the Commanders. Yeah. Now I think he's a fan. Guys,
I don't know. I'm not jumping. I mean, I've laughed at the Commander fans for so long. I just can't. I mean, I'm happy for you guys because, listen, you guys have been through it.
Laugh at.
You guys have been through it. And blew expectations out the water. And I knew it wasn't going to end in the Super Bowl like a lot of people thought. But you know what? Congrats, Sleep. I'm
easy
happy
to do
for
when
you.
You don't have any. Yeah. Dude, one game away from the Super Bowl, dude. And I'll tell you what, that game, I mean, dude, we wound up losing by boatload, but it was a close game until, I mean, it was I wouldn't say it was close because it did look kind of lopsided. It wasn't as lopsided as the score indicated, but there was just no doubt Philly was just a better team, 100% better team. Some kind of iffy calls, but I don't think Philly is I don't think Philly was going to intentionally get calls over Washington in that scenario. So, you kind of, I think everybody was predominantly cheering for Washington and cheering for the Bills. And what do we get? But here's what I'm going to leave you with. Okay. This is my Jimmy's Famous Seafood call of the year. Okay. We owe this to Jimmy's because this is, been a while since we did a podcast, but I'm telling you, this is the call that no one has made, and I can't believe it. Kansas City's going to win the Super Bowl, and Travis Kelce's going to propose to Taylor Swift.
Oh, God.
On the damn stage after it's over.
No.
And the whole world is going to spiral out of control because you're going to counteract Donald Trump with Taylor Swift. And they're going to put it in a bottle, shake it up. And I'm telling you guys, Super Bowl Monday, the world might not even, the Big Bang 2 might happen.
Sleep, I hope.
I'm telling you.
I hope.
Tell me it's not true.
I do not want to see a proposal.
Perfect.
I tuned into a football game. I want to watch football. I don't know. I can't. I hope not. I I mean, dude, I had to watch Dan Campbell.
It's going to happen. Get ready for it.
Wipe his tears for you. I can't do it. No.
It's going to be Civil War. It's going to be Civil War. And everybody thought the Civil War was going to come from politics, and it's not. It's going to come from the Swifties versus the people that don't want to see it. And I'm telling you, man, I'm in for a good love story. But I swear to you, dude, that's what's going to happen. Mark my words. That's going to happen. I hope everybody waited till the end of this podcast because it will happen.
I hope not.
Tell me you've ever heard of greater. This is Nostradamus right here. So, anyway, that's the Jimmy's famous seafood. Down and dirty, the salt water, the tea, the damn drawn butter. You heard it here first, baby. Right here on SleepHawk Worldwide, back better than ever. You got anything else, Big Hawk?
Stay safe.